Okay, so this is part two of slides 12, which is about the tissues, organs, and organ system. We finished part one, and we are going to continue. And we already talked about tissues, organs, and organ systems, and this is a very important definition to know that tissues are a group of cells together that will make tissues. Organ, this is the tissues actually is a group of similar cells that are performing specific function. A group of similar cells that's performing a specific function. I talked about it before, but these are basics that we have to know. So this is tissues, and when you put a combination of tissues together, you're making an organ. And then two or more organs working together, coordinating together to do a specific function, that will be the organ system. And here it is again, um, like this. We have tissue, 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 different, a combination of different types of tissues, and that's going to make an organ. Organ, if you put two or more organs together, coordinating and doing a specific function, like digestive system is for nutrient absorption and excretion, and so on. So put organs together, that's going two or more, that's going to make the organ system. In this case, it is digestive system. And then if you put the systems together, or the organ systems, all of them together, that will be the organism, or the human body in this case. Um, Now there are certain cavities that we have inside our body that we have to know. And the body is not like compact, it's not like solid. There are cavities in which all these organs are located. And we do need to know these cavities. The first cavity is the cranial cavity, in which the brain is located. And then the spinal cavity, in which or vertebral cavity, same thing, spinal cavity, vertebral cavity, same thing, in which the spinal cord is located. So these are the first two in the back, right here. So we call them like the posterior cavities. In the front, anterior cavities, we have thoracic cavity on top, on which the lungs and the heart are located. And then there is abdominal cavity and pelvic cavity. However, the thoracic cavity is separated from the abdominal pelvic cavity by the diaphragm right here. There is a diaphragm here. The abdominal and pelvic cavity are not separated by any partition, but we still call this big cavity on top here, we call it the abdominal cavity, and the lower part is called the pelvic cavity. These are the cavities in which we have all these organs, like in the abdominal abdominal cavity, we have the abdominal organs, liver and pancreas and stomach and intestine and all these organs. In the pelvic cavity, we have the pelvic organs, which is the lower parts of the digestive system and the reproductive urinary system. So there are some organs located in the abdominal cavity and other organs located in the pelvic cavity. There is no much separation between those. It's one big called abdominal pelvic cavity, but still this upper part up there under the diaphragm all the way like to here, abdominal, and this is pelvic. This is for the cavities. Uh, this is just asking you uh, to match. And this is to practice, and it is very important because like every one of those can be a good question. Because again, basics, these are basics. This is the core of the chapter. This is the student learning objectives. I mean, not only this, but these are like the basics. Like this is ABC. So which system is going to maintain volume and composition of the blood by excreting excess fluids and waste products? Obviously, that's going to be the urinary system. Which one protect the body, provide muscle attachment, act as a liver, produce blood cells, and store minerals like calcium and phosphorus. Obviously, this is the bone known as skeletal system. You need to know both names. Bone is skeletal system. Which one deliver oxygen and remove carbon dioxide and waste products and regulate pH? This is a revision, but this is to help us remember all this information that's important. This is obviously the blood. Hormonally control body functions. Once you see hormones, this is endocrine system, endocrine or endocrine system, because it's a hormone. This is one. Work with the nervous system. This is two. So obviously it's not the nervous system. And integrate short-term and long-term activities. This is definitely endocrine system. Enough to see hormones, but you can read the rest and it goes with it. But if you see hormones, this is definitely endocrine system. If you see receive sensory information and provide control and motor command, this will be definitely nervous system. Which one produce eggs? Provide protected nutrient environment, which is like the uterus and the fetus. This is obviously female reproductive system, but this part only. But adding this, producing sperms and produce hormones. So we're talking about the whole reproductive system. Now we're not being specific. So if I give you only this part, your answer will be female reproductive system. If I give you this part, male reproductive system. If I'm giving you all these information, just reproductive system. Next is which system collects and return tissue fluid to the blood. Defend against infection and tissue damage. This is lymphoid or lymphatic system. Once you see defend against infection, this is not the only thing, but I'm giving you one clue, one word, or one sentence that help you to pick the right match. So since it's saying defending against infection, this is good enough to say lymphatic system, and we will talk about it more later. Detects external and internal environment, coordination, integration. This is definitely the nervous system. Which one transports many materials to and from the cells and stabilize pH and temperature? I know we already talked about it, but this is another function. Which one transports? Once you hear or you see transport, so it has to be fluid. Fluid is either blood or lymphatics. In this case, it's not lymphatics because it didn't say infection. It's saying material meaning and say to the cells or from the cells. Who provide material to and from the cells? Obviously the blood. Also controlling pH, blood. Cannot be the lymphatics. Lymphatics, infection, and getting rid of toxins. Also controlling temperature. Like when it gets hot, your body looks like pinkish. It's flourishing, it's pinkish colored because of your blood vessels dilate to help you get rid of the heat. So it is controlling the temperature. Next is which system work with ingesting the food and water and then do mechanical and chemical breakdown, which we call it mechanical and chemical digestion, and also absorb. This is very obvious, digestive system, ingest, eating, food and water, very obvious. Mechanical and chemical breakdown, obviously, digestive system. Mechanical is like by mechanical movement, like your teeth, like your muscle contractions. Chemical is like enzymes. Absorbing at the end, yes, of course, digestion, absorption, this is what it is. Ingest, digest, absorb, get rid of the waste products. This is definitely the digestive system. So here it is again, in giving you comparison. This is a very, very important, both of those. are the 11 organ systems that you need to know. And you need to remember the function of each one of those because this is the bottom line. This is the basics for this chapter. You have to know the function of each one of those. Integumentary system. What's an integumentary system? Integument is cover. Cover. Talking about skin and things related to the skin. Things and other things appended or located, associated with the skin. What is associated with the skin? Look at your own skin. Here is my skin. I see hair. I see nails. I see sweat glands and sebaceous glands. All these are associated with the skin. So this is integumentary system. What is the function? Think about it. Why do you have a skin? Protect me against injury. Protect me against dehydration. Or remember, this was mentioned before. It's the integumentary system, not the nervous system. I put them together because of the sensory information, and I take that back. So it's an integumentary system. In coordination with the nervous system, obviously, but since it's a protect against injury and dehydration, and microbes controlling body temperature, like the blood vessels inside, it's obviously integumentary in coordination with other systems. Excretion, like the sweat glands containing waste products, provide sensory information. This can be confusing because this is a function of the nervous system, but since the receptors of the nervous system are located in the skin, it also counts as integumentary system, but only if you put all of these together. Nervous system detect external and internal stimuli, like which is in coordination with this, like when somebody touch you, when you touch something hot, when you see something, when you hear something. This is detection of the stimuli from outside, external. And also we detect from inside, something happening inside, you detect the information. But here you have control and coordination of the responses of all organ systems, integrating all the systems. This is a nervous system. The nervous system is like the manager of all systems. Endocrine system is like the assistant manager. They manage together. Nervous system and then endocrine system, they manage everything else. The difference is nervous system contain neurons, and it's for immediate coordination and control. Like you touch something and you move away in less than a second. Endocrine system, it takes time. So, and it works with hormones. Of course, since it's endocrine, means there are no ducts. I talked about this and it's very important. Endocrine versus exocrine. Exo, out. You have ducts to take the secretions out. Exo. Endo, inside. No ducts. You make hormones that goes beside the cells, in the fluid beside the cells, outside of the cells. We call it extracellular fluid. And it is also for coordination and control. What's the difference? Nervous system coordination and control, endocrine system coordination and control. First of all, nervous system use nerves, neurons, and it is for short term, like right away. Endocrine system, it use hormones, chemical secretions, not neurons. And also it is for short-term and long-term activities. Like if your blood sugar goes down, for example, you don't correct it like in a second or something. It takes time. It takes minutes, sometimes more. The blood calcium is going up. Yes, you're going to control it, but it takes time to make the hormones secreted, go to the blood. First of all, you make the hormones, it go to the extracellular fluid surrounding the cells because there is no duct to take it away. And then it will reach the blood somehow, travel in the blood, go to the cells, go to the effect. So all of that takes time. Muscular system, we talked about it. Movement, posture, heat generation. Skeletal system, we talked about it. Support, protection, muscle attachment, liver, and producing red blood cells, storing minerals like calcium and phosphorus, circulatory system, transport uh, different materials from and to the cells, which is it's a circulatory system is a coordination between the cardiovascular system and the blood, both of them together. Lymphatic system, when you see it, as soon as you see it, defend against infection. This is not the only thing, but this is your clue. Plus collecting and returning tissue fluids. We will discuss it more. Like when the blood go to the cells, it will leave the cells, go to the cells, carrying oxygen and nutrients. Cells take what they want, and then it will return back to the heart. From the heart to the cells. In the blood. Blood is running in the blood vessels. Go to the cells. The cells take what they need, oxygen and nutrients, and get rid of what they don't need, waste products and carbon dioxide, which will travel back to the heart. The heart send it to the lung, get oxygenated, sent back to the cells, oxygenated, containing nutrients. Cells take what they need, oxygen and nutrients, get rid of what they don't need, carbon dioxide waste products, and then it go back through the veins to the heart, and then arterial system to the cells, venous system to the heart, and it's going like that 24/7 throughout our entire life. However, when the fluid leave the blood and go to the cells carrying oxygen and nutrients, and then the fluid leave the cells, go back to the blood carrying waste products and carbon dioxide, not all of it goes back. Part of it go like in a side line, which is lymphatic system. I'm just giving you a brief idea about it. Respiratory system, obviously very obvious, very clear, getting oxygen and getting rid of carbon dioxide. You breathe in, you get the oxygen. You breathe out, you get rid of carbon dioxide. Is that it? Well, because you're doing that, you're controlling the pH somehow. Because of the carbon dioxide, when you get rid of it, you don't leave it in the blood. You get rid of it, good part of it, not all of it. This will control the pH because carbon dioxide in the blood, it reacts with water, making something called carbonic acids. Carbonic acid, carbon dioxide with water. Carbonic acid is what you drink in a soda. It is carbonic acid dissolving in the, carbon dioxide dissolved in the water, carbonic acid, like the carbonated beverages. So this is happening in our blood. So when you get rid of carbon dioxide, you have less acids. Digestive system, we talked about it. Ingestion, mechanical breakdown, chemical breakdown, absorption. And then in the feces, you get rid of the waste products. Urinary system, maintain the volume and the composition of the blood. This is the main function. And then it makes urine to get rid of the waste products. But if you think about it, why are we making urine in the urinary system? To get rid of what we don't need and keep what we need. This will reflect on the blood because blood go to the urinary system take things out in the urine and keep things. By doing so, you get something from the blood and you add something to the blood. By doing so, you're controlling the blood, both volume and composition. Reproductive system, obviously, it is for producing gametes. And when we say gametes, gamete actually is a Greek or Latin for to marry. This is the origin of the name. But gametes, practically speaking, it means eggs and sperms. Eggs in females, sperms in males. So this is the function of the reproductive system, generally speaking. It also makes hormones. This is number 2. But so far, I didn't differentiate between males and females. I'm saying producing gametes, producing hormones. I'm not specific. So far, it can be male, it can be female. Both of them do the same thing. Okay, males make sperms. This is the gametes, reproductive cells, plus testosterone or androgen. This is a hormone. Females also make the same thing, but their own. So they make eggs as reproductive cells or gametes, also make hormones like estrogen and progesterone. The last one is different, which is pregnancy, like having a uterus to provide an environment for the baby to grow, conception, baby grow, and so on. This is in females only. So again, remember, those two slides, extremely important. Summarizing the systems that you have to know. And remember, there might be some confusion between parts of those, like the circulatory system and the lymphatic system. So you have to get into the deep details. This is what we already did. Organ is a combination of two or more of course, not organs. It is an organ. So it is tissues. Organ system is a combination of organs or tissues. Of course, combination of organs. We talked about it several times. If you put tissues together to make organs, not organ system. Organ system is a group of or two or more of organs. The body has different cavities. All of these cavities. The body has how many organ systems? This is obviously 11. And these are the 5 you can label it. We talked about it before. Thoracic, abdominal, pelvic, cranial, spinal, or vertebral. One more time, organ is a combination of 2 or more types of tissues performing a specific function. Organ system is a group, 2 or more organs. Okay, you put cells together, similar cells, you make tissues. 2 or more types of tissues together, combination, organ. 2 or more organs, organ system. 11 organ systems together, this is the whole human body. So these are the 11 systems, and these are the 5 cavities that we talked about. Organs. Integumentary organ is integument. Integument means cover, the covering system. And the covering system is skin and others related, associated, appended to the skin. Look at your own skin. What do I have? I have hair in my skin. I have nails associated with my skin. I have secretions. What kind of secretions? 2, sweat that we already all know. And there is oily secretion that's called sebaceous glands make it. So we have sweat glands making the sweat that we all know, but there are other types of glands, oil glands or sebaceous glands. And if you don't know what is this, there are glands inside our skin that make oily secretion to lubricate the hair as it is growing to be kind of soft, and also lubricate the skin. The skin is considered the largest surface area of the body. Like if you put together the surface area of the skin, this is by far the largest. And we talked about the functions before. It's protection against different things. Protection against different things. Against ultraviolet radiation, against mechanical stress, against pathogens. Also conserving water. So you don't lose water if you have good skin. And that's explained if you have like burn. Most of the severe burn they have to give them fluids in the hospital because you damage the skin that was helping you to conserve and keep your water. If it is burned, the water will, you will lose it and you can get dehydrated. So it's one of the functions. Insulation is another function. Insulate the underneath. So the underneath tissues are not exposed. Like your muscles are not exposed, your blood vessels are not exposed. So it's insulating those. Together with the fats in the skin. Regulation of temperature, I talked about it before. Regulation of body temperature. Remember, you will see your skin, like if it is hot, you will see your skin getting like reddish, pinkish. And this is because the blood vessels in your skin dilate so that you lose the heat, so that your body temperature goes down. This is if it is hot. If it is cold, the opposite happens. The blood vessels constrict so that it doesn't go out and you don't lose, not much blood goes to the skin, so you don't lose your heat. You keep it. It's cold. You need to keep your heat. So this is called heat regulation. Next is sensation. Sensation through the nervous system, like something touch you, something hot, something cold, something harmful, something that's not harmful, doesn't matter. It is sensation. Last one, I don't know if we know that or not, but this can be an additional one, is this is where we make, which is called synthesize. Synthesize means make, form, vitamin D. This is where we make vitamin D. And I think we all heard about some kids having rickets because you don't go out and they are not exposed enough to the sun. What happens if we are exposed enough? If you're exposed enough to the sun, your skin, with the help of the ultraviolet radiation, it's going to make vitamin D. And that's why children has to be exposed to a reasonable period of time to the sun. Otherwise, you'll end up having rickets. And I think we heard about the rickets, where the bone become weak and the bone start to bend, right? So you have to be exposed to the sun reasonable amount of time. Okay, reasonable amount of time. Overexposure is bad. Can irritate the skin and it can actually burn the skin. It can make even progress to cancer. So overexposure is bad. Underexposure is bad. Underexposure, you're not exposed enough, your skin will not make vitamin D. You get rickets if you're a child, or you get bone weakness if you're adult. But overexposure is also bad because it can burn your skin and can cause like cancer and stuff in the skin. If you look at the skin, you will see outer layer that's called epidermis. And this is the one that's tough. And this is the one that is more of the one that's protecting the underneath structure. This is the one that's conserving the water because it's a lot of layers that's tough. And by the way, epi means on top. Dermis means this part of the skin. And then you have the third one, which is not skin, it's under the skin, which is called hypo. What's hypo? I'm giving you prefixes and suffixes here. Hypo means under. Epi, above or on top. It's more on top of. So epi on top of, hypo under. So there is derms in the middle, above it, epi, under it, hypo. Epi is the one that conserve your water. Hypo is the one that contain the fat. So you say, I gained weight, like you hold your skin like this, and oh my God, I have a lot of fat, I'm gaining weight. Yes, you're talking about hypoderms. This is where we store the fat underneath the skin to work as like insulation and so on. Anything else is in the derms: blood vessels, nerve supply, glands, hair, roots, and follicle. It's all located here. And look at this. This is a sweat gland. Look at the duct. It take it all the way out. Is this is endocrine or exocrine? Exo, because the ducts take it out. Exo. You will also see like this, the hair follicle, in which the hair grow and pass through the epidermis to the outside when you can see it. There are also sensory receptors, different type. You don't have to know more than that. Details, no. This is enough, but I'm telling you. The blood vessels in the hypodermis and the nerves in the hypodermis, they extend to the dermis. Epidermis, again, epi means on top of. Dermis is the inner layer that contain nerves and blood vessels and glands and hair, follicle. The epidermis is the superficial one. This is stratified squamous epithelium. I talked about it when we talked about the tissues. Remember, stratified strata, multiple layers. Squamous, and this is the toughest type of tissues. If you remember, we talked about it. This is to protect and help you to do the functions of the skin. This one is stratified squamous epithelium, tough, multiple layers, protect you, conserve your water, and so on. Of course, this is too much. You would need to know that when you go to more advanced classes, but for now, what I told you is enough. Next class, that's a higher class, you will learn all these layers and all that stuff. But for now, that's just too much. I already told you what you need to know. Associated with the skin, still talking about the integumentary system. Again, integument means cover. Skin and other organs related to the skin. This is the system. So what's the integumentary system? Is it the skin? No, skin is one tissue. One organ, I mean, one organ. While the integumentary is an organ system. So organ system, two or more organs. Skin is an organ. Nails, organ. Hair follicles, organ. Glands, exocrine organs, exocrine glands. So all of this is associated with the skin. Here is the nail. Again, I'm not going to go deep into the details. This will be the more advanced classes. For the skin, for the nails, I mean, no, it is part of the integumentary system. Plus, it is for protection of this part. This part is called the lunula, the nail bed, the nail plate underneath, and this is the extra part extension out there. But again, it is to make your the tip of the fingers stronger and protected. Hair. What do I need to know about hair? Like all of this? No, no. All what I want you to know is the follicles are located in the dermis, as I mentioned before, and then the hair extend up to pass through the epidermis and appear outside. The shaft part is the one that we can see. Like if you look at your skin and see hair, you're looking at the shaft. The inside is the follicle. Associated with this, there is a muscle that's called erector pili. Erector is coming from erection. Erection is when you do like the goosebump, like this. So there is muscle associated with it. The other thing that you do have to know I'm just giving you the basics that we need to know. Hair, what do I need to know? You have to know there is a hair follicle in the dermis and the shaft extend out. That's one. There is a muscle that if it is cold, it's going to contract, giving you the goosebump. This muscle is called erector pili. Last one, oil gland. Oil gland is known as sebaceous gland. It secretes into the hair so that the hair, as it is growing, it becomes kind of oily. Sebaceous gland. Do we have other glands? Yes, you have sweat glands beside that. So again, I'm focusing on what you have to know. Sebaceous gland, the oil gland. And just let's link that or associate that to our daily life. Sometimes you see a shampoo that's say for dry hair, for oily hair. Yes, oily hair. This is what we're talking about. So you're supposed to have a reasonable amount of secretions from the sebaceous gland or the oily gland. So it's not too oily and it's not too dry. If it is over secreting, you will say, I have oily hair, and you buy a shampoo that's more for the oily hair. If it is dry, it means these glands are not secreting enough. Just to link it and help you remember this. These glands, just a little bit more details. I talked about the sebaceous glands that secrete the oil to keep our hair soft and the skin as well, like these. So it secretes on the shaft as it is growing, and then it will go out. Some of it will make our skin soft, and some of it will make the hair itself soft. This is one, sebaceous glands. But there are other types of sweat glands. Sweat glands, I talked about the sweat glands. One of them is called apocrine gland, and the other one is called eccrine glands. I don't want you to know much about this. The only thing that I want you to know is eccrine glands. Eccrine, these are the normal sweat glands that produce normal sweat. Apocrine glands, this is unusual type, not unusual. It is more specialized or modified types. And these are located in certain locations, and it is related to sexual arousal. Like if somebody is sexually stimulated, they start to make their secretions. So they don't count really toward the sweat glands, even though it's a modified sweat glands. It's located like here, like in the axilla, in the armpits, in the groin, around the genitalia. It's produce certain secretions that's designed for sexual attraction and stuff. So it's not, the bottom line, it's not the ordinary sweat gland, which is eccrine. Their secretion is more thicker and oily, and again, it's related to the sexual arousal. The other glands are called ceraminous glands. You need to know this. All these types of glands. Ceraminous glands, what is this? The glands are named after their secretions, like sebaceous glands. Why did you call it sebaceous glands? It secretes sebum, which is the oil. Sebaceous secretes sebum. Ceraminous secretes ceramin. What's a ceramin? Scientific name for earwax in your ears. So that if something is going in, it will be trapped. Mammary glands. This is the breast in females. It produces milk. So this is talking about what we already talked about. Skin is the largest surface area of any organ. You do need to remember that. And we talked about the functions. Epidermis is the outer part, stratified squamous epithelium. Tough, conserving water, protection. Dermis is the inner layer. And this is the one that contains blood vessels, nerves, receptors, glands. And we talked about the details. Hypodermis is not part of this of the skin. It's under the skin, the one that contains the fat under the skin. Homeostasis, we talked about that before. And they are repeating it because it is actually important. Homeostasis. Homeostasis is keeping stable, normal environment for the normal function of the body. Keeping stable condition, stable environment for the normal function of the body. In the case of the fluid, we have, look at this. This is the cell, and here is another cell. You call this in between here interstitial tissue fluid, also known as extracellular fluid. Translation. Interstitial. Interstitial means in between, because it's in between the cells, like all this blue. How about the other name, extracellular? Extra means out, intra means in. Extra versus intra. You need to remember this. Extra, intra. And there is inter. Do not confuse. Basics, I'm giving you the basics. You're building up the basics, and in the next class, you'll be, instead of learning it, you're going to be using it, and you will add more to it. So inter is not the same as intra. Enter, like this. Enter means in between. A prefix in Greek that means in between. Extra, out, outside. Intra, inside. Intra is not the same as enter. Enter, a prefix that means in between. Intra is inside. Intra, inside. Enter, in between. Two different prefixes. So this blue fluid here is the extracellular fluid, and the fluid inside the cells is called intracellular fluid. So what is this? Extracellular fluid or interstitial tissue fluid. Blood vessels will bring the blood to here. So now the blood is coming. And remember, inside the cells, we call it intracellular. Outside is called extracellular. Is this the extracellular only? No, anything outside of the cells is extracellular. So the blood is extracellular. Yes, extra means outside. Extracellular, outside the cells. Intracellular, inside the cells. I'm talking about the extracellular. What's the extracellular? Outside of the cells, like this blue, which is interstitial fluid in between. But the blood also counts because it's still outside of the cells, both of those. And this fluid in the blood and in the interstitial fluid, which is in between the cells, they communicate, like the fluid part leave from the blood capillaries, go to the interstitial fluid, go to the cells. The cells take what they need, oxygen and nutrients, and they get rid of what they don't need, carbon dioxide and waste products that leave from the other side and go back to the blood. Fluid leave the blood vessels, capillaries, go to the interstitial fluid, to the cells. Oxygen and carbon dioxide, oxygen and nutrients, go to the cells. The cells take it. The cells will get rid of carbon dioxide and waste products. Will go back to the blood. Leave the blood, go back to the blood. Not all of it go back to the blood. Part of it will stay, making the lymphatic system, the lymph that we talked about, and we will discuss it more. So again, this is the cells. The fluid inside is intracellular. Any fluid not inside, extracellular. What is the extracellular? Interstitial is here in between. And extracellular is this interstitial and also including the blood. And it's mainly water. Just water? No, water and different things. Nutrients, enzymes, ions, different things. So here's again homeostasis. Homeostasis. Homogeneous, stable, homogeneous. good environment, stasis to keep. So keeping stable environments. In this case, the stable environment is fluid. Fluid can move will move from the blood to the interstitial fluid, from the interstitial fluid to the intracellular fluid, from the intracellular fluid to the interstitial fluid, from the interstitial fluid to the capillaries. So it moves out and in to keep homeostasis in this case. In order to do the homeostasis, you have to have three components. Sensory receptors to give you the information, integrator or integrative center to get the information and decide what to do, effector will do the needed job. Like this. Sensory. You have sensation here, like you touch something that's hot. Integrator can be the brain, it can be the spinal cord. Receive the signal, decide what to do, and send the message to the effector. In this case, the effector is the muscles. So the muscles contract and you move away. You touch something and you move away. Touch something hot, you move away immediately. This is three things happening here. It happened in less than a second, but it's three components. I didn't know that this container is hot. I touch it. I move away immediately. Did you think about it? Touch, receptor, sensation, sensory. The signal go to the integrator or integrative center. Analyze it, integrate, intercept, send an order, a message to the effector. In this case, the muscles contract and you move away. Receptor or sensory, integrator for integration and interpretation and giving orders, brain or spinal cord. Effector, in this case, it is the muscles. Can be glands as well. So stimulus is what stimulates you. Like I touch something hot. This something that's hot is stimulus. And then receptors make the signal. Receive it. Receptor. Send it to the integrator or integrative center, which is the brain. The brain will send a message or an order to the muscles and glands. So you end up contracting your muscles, moving away, or the glands can be also get the order to make more secretion, and we will discuss more details later. When you do homeostasis, I did talk about that before, negative feedback and positive feedback, but I'm going to talk about it again because it's important and we have to know. For the feedback, we have negative feedback and positive feedback. Which one is more important for the homeostasis? Negative feedback. Negative feedback. What's a negative? And why did you call it negative? Negative feedback is when there is a stimulus that comes to you and your reaction is to reduce that stimulus. Example, my body heat is moving up. Okay, this is a stimulus. Stimulus is heat. Your body temperature is going up. What's your reaction? I'm going to get rid of that heat. Sweat, for example. So you end up reducing the heat. Stimulus is heat going up. Your reaction is heat going down. And that's why it's called negative. Negative is opposite. Temperature goes down. You get that stimulus, and you end up raising your body temperature, like shivering, like covering. like increasing the heat, you do whatever. So the bottom line is the stimulus is something and your reaction is to do the opposite. Heat goes up, your action is to reduce it. Heat goes down, your reaction is to increase it. So your reaction is to do the opposite of the stimulus. This is called negative feedback. And this is the most important one. Blood sugar goes up, you bring it back down. Blood sugar goes down, you bring it back up. Calcium goes up, bring it down. pH goes up, bring it down. pH goes down, bring it up. Losing fluid, I'm going to gain fluid. You're gaining more fluid, I'm going to lose fluid. And so on. This is all, the vast majority is negative feedback, and this is homeostasis, because you will keep everything within the normal range, keeping stable environment. This is homeostasis. Very important. I need my blood sugar to be like this, 70 to 110. I don't want it to go beyond that, under or over. It goes up, you bring it down. It goes down, you bring it up. So you're keeping stable environment? Yes, homeostasis. By doing what? Negative feedback. Goes up, I bring it down. The stimulus is going up, my reaction is bring it down. Negative, the opposite. Positive feedback is an exception, not an important part of the homeostasis. Positive feedback is when a stimulus comes and your reaction is to increase it, to do it more. Example, during childbirth, the uterus contract to push the baby out or the fetus out. The baby is pushed out, go to the cervix dilate. A hormone is produced at this point called oxytocin that goes to the uterus to contract even more, pushing the baby more, dilating the cervix more, producing more oxytocin. Go to the uterus, contract more. So more contraction, and your reaction is to do even more. Positive feedback. The other thing is blood clotting. If you have an injury, you're losing blood, you're bleeding. So you start to make blood clots. And this will send a signal for you to make more blood clots, which will, so what's the stimulus? Blood clot. And what's your reaction? More blood clots. Signal, the blood clot is increasing. I'm going to increase it even more. Isn't that positive? Positive feedback. And these are the most important two reactions or feedback examples. So here is a negative feedback. Temperature goes up. Your thermometer or your thermostat is adjusted at certain point. It's going up. Heater shuts off and you bring it back to normal, and vice versa. Heat goes down, go to the set point, compare it, sensory. The sensors will sense the heat or the room temperature, and then if it goes down, it's going to the heater is going to kick in, and so on. This is the best example for the negative feedback. The room temperature going up, your air condition will bring it down by turning on the air condition. Room temperature goes down, your system is going to increase it by turning on the heater, and so on. So here it is, temperature goes up, get the signal, your nervous system get it, will help you to move it down, like sweating. Actually, this is up. It goes up, you bring it down. What if it goes down? You bring it up. Negative feedback. And this is homeostasis. Again, homeostasis, controlling the body to maintain stable environment, internal environment, to keep within the normal range to maintain internal environment, stable internal environment, to keep it within the range. You have a stimulus, sensors to pick up the stimulus, the stimulus, integrator or integrative center, which is the brain, integrate, interpret, and send an order or message. Effector will do it. Negative feedback is the main control that's helping with the homeostasis. You need to remember this. And this is a summary again. It's going through all what we talked about. You should go through it, but it's repeating the same thing that we talked about, but making it more of a summary. So it is very, very helpful to go through it after you finish this. So I'm going to stop here, and this is the end of 12.